if you're like 19, 20, I would say that's a great time for you to get into real estate. You just really need to learn. Like I'm saying, don't get into it at 18. If you get into this business, you just throwing money. It's like $3K, right?
Yeah, about like $3 it costs to get your license, to sign up for the classes. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Walk to Wealth podcast. If you're tuning in on YouTube or any of the podcasts directories, make sure to do yourself one teeny tiny little favor and make sure to give us a follow, because I don't want you to miss out on any of the amazing episodes I got coming out this year. And I'm loving this series we got going on.
Yes,
Darren, like, bro, it's I never had a co-host, and usually like when it's different interviewing someone and like really just chopping up with someone about a particular topic.
Yup.
Like coming together to talk about something, whatever it may be, it's just dope. And like now this is our 4th collab episode right now.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't tuned into any of our episodes, let me break it down for you. Our first collab episode we did was how to drop out, why me and Darren both dropped out. Mm-hmm. Then in part 2, we talked about the step-by-step game plan. Darren gave you a game plan. I gave you a game plan for dropping out. Mm-hmm. After both of us dropped out, we got into real estate. And then that led to our next episode, which was how we got into real estate, which pretty much a little masterclass on how to get your real estate license in Connecticut. Now, some of the same rules apply to other states, but for the most part, it's how to get your license CT. Mm-hmm. And now we're here going to be talking about, should you even get your real estate license, right? Which probably should have had this episode before. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it doesn't matter, because like in hindsight, we learned a lot from getting our license. And so the audience, if you haven't listened to our episode how we got into real estate, go check out the last one. But we're just going to get right into it, bro. Should you get into real estate? Don't go into specific, just overall, like, what do you think? Should people, like, our age, fresh out of high school or fresh out of college or dropping out of college or college age, never went to college, whatever, like, this young adult, don't get into super specific, just overall, what do you think? Like, should people get into real estate?
I believe that it's a give and take, because some people aren't mature enough. So right now, I would say if you're coming straight out of high school, absolutely not. Don't get into real estate. And yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep.
All right. And so for me, I honestly think that dependent on your personality, I think real estate could be super beneficial. Mm-hmm. But if I knew what I knew now, and I had to go back in time, I will still get into real estate. Mm-hmm. I think it's really good for networking and connections. In terms of overall, like, doing it to make money, man, it's annoying, bro. I ain't gonna hold you.
That's the main reason why.
Yeah, it's like, bro, other businesses, I mean, each business has their pros and cons. Mm-hmm. And so with real estate overall, I'm glad I got into it. Mm-hmm. Looking back at it now, had I not gotten into it, it wouldn't have led me down the path I'm on now with teaching and AI and stuff like that. So I wouldn't even say like I'll go back and change anything. Mm-hmm. But like, I know for a fact I definitely don't ever want to get back into it. That's one thing. All right, so let's get into some like specifics, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about like, bro, like, who would real estate be a good fit for? Who do you think real estate would be a good fit for? Let's say this is like, young adults, mm-hmm. Looking to figure out what to do with life. Who would be a good fit for real estate?
I say a good fit. Anybody who wants to get into real estate, a good fit. I would say, preferably, if you're like 19, 20, like early 20s, I would say that's a great time for you to get into real estate. You just really need to learn. I'm saying, don't get into it at 18, because like, if you get into this business, you just throwing money. So you're throwing money in. So like when you first start your real estate business, it's like $3K, right?
4K. About like $3 it costs to get your license, to mm-hmm. sign up for the classes, mm-hmm. to get signed up with a brokerage, mm-hmm. all in all, like to get your MLS access to your board, mm-hmm. all in, you're spending close to like $3,000. Now, it's not all one upfront payment, but like over the cost.
Especially nowadays, it's definitely $3,000 now, because I know
the fees are going up.
The fees went way up, like E&O insurance.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. So yeah, if you're like 20, if you really know how to, like, if you're like good at convincing people, like, I would say, like, if you're like you don't come off too salesy, but you can convince somebody to do something. I feel like you probably be good in the real estate field because at the end of the day, like say if you're like a cold caller and you calling expireds. When you call expires, that's an expired listing that was already on the market.
What's a cold call?
A cold call is when person doesn't know you, you don't know the person. So basically, you're just cold approaching them. So when you do this cold call, you're trying to get business out of it one way or another, whether that be through keeping them updated in the market, which is like circle prospecting, or trying to relist their home probably for like the same price or a little bit less, which is when you go after expireds. So for if you like, the reason I say if you're good at convincing people, for especially with expireds already want to sell their home. They already put it on for a reason. If you could show them why you're the right person to sell their home, and then as long as you price it right, I mean, the job's gonna get done, because majority of the times when houses don't sell, that just means they're overpriced.
You're getting too complicated into the weeds of it, bro.
Yeah.
You're getting too much into real estate technical terms, bro.
Yeah.
But what Darren's pretty much saying is like a lot of times you gotta convince people why they should work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like real estate, there's more realtors now on the market than there are houses on the market.
Way more.
Meaning like a lot of realtors don't even ever sell houses. I think the average statistic, like the average realtor makes about $60,000 a year, which is the same as a starting off corporate job.
Yeah.
Depending on where you work.
And that's if you sell.
Exactly, that's if you sell. And on top of that, it takes a while for most realtors to even get to the point where they are selling.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most realtors don't sell anything in their first year.
Mm-hmm.
Most realtors leave the business after 2 years, right? Especially after 5. And the same thing with like business in general. That's everywhere.
Yeah.
And just like every other business, the Pareto principle, which is like 20% of the realtors do 80% of the transactions. And if you really get into it, like 5% of all the realtors do 95% of all the transactions.
Yeah.
Bro, so it's like the guys at the top are eating off the top, but when you're young, for my answer to the question, I think if you're someone that's very hardworking, you're someone who has delayed gratification, right? I feel like you don't have to be. I mean, me personally, I don't think you have to be a convincing person, because I feel like you could learn that.
Yeah, you can.
I feel like but I'm gonna say like there's people who are more naturally charismatic than other people, and they have a natural. They're more naturally extroverted, and you can break out of your shell. Yeah. But like, it's like an uphill battle almost. You feel me? Like there's some people, and a lot of things can be learned, but like some people, they just start off with a couple extra points in the extrovert bucket, so they're better at talking to people without any training, and then they add training on top of that, and then it comes off real real smooth. And so I would say for things that like are harder to learn, I guess you could say like having delayed gratification, that's like one thing you could learn that, bro, but I feel like that's hard to learn, because a lot of times you're working a lot before you ever get anything out. Like what, it took you a minute to get your first transaction.
It took almost
I did my first rental. It took me 3 months, then I did nothing at all for another 8 months after that. You feel me? So it's like, there's a lot of times where you're not making anything, but you're still doing the work and got to show up, right? I think if you're someone that is willing to take accountability, whether you succeed at a high level or where you fail at a high level, you got to be able to sit with both. You feel me? You got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, damn, I suck. And also, when you're popping off, you gotta be able to say like, "Damn, I did that." You feel me? Enjoy that. Yeah. I think if you're someone that is willing to learn and just soak stuff up, and I think also if you're someone that's not as scared to like rock the boat, especially if you were in like an industry like ours, or not an industry, but like a market like ours, it's a lot of old money in here in like Fairfield County, Connecticut, and so like it's a lot of also old realtors, and so it's like you gotta be able to really just go in there and be willing to do things a little differently to make yourself stand out. I'm not saying you have to be super controversial, but just saying like, if all these old realtors are doing things one way, you have a competitive edge if you go in there and like you start doing the social media, you start using AI, you start being more creative and just hustling more. Yeah, you can outwork a lot. So I think that's like ideally the type of person that would probably be a good fit for real estate. Now like, let's get into the pros. All right, so Darren, so we just said who's a good fit for real estate, right? Or at least who we think personally who's a good fit for real estate. Not to say that you can't succeed if you're not, bro. Just like from what we know, this is what our experience is. For me, so now when you say let's start off with the cons. That way we end on a good note. What have been all the cons during your time in real estate so far?
So the cons is mainly the cost. Like you really don't like, especially when you're like a 20-year-old and you like just coming out of college or you just getting like into the real world and like you're trying to run your own business. You don't really know like how much it costs to like run a business. So like you really don't think everything is like a business expense, but when you really look at it, like stuff like gas, your phone bill, insurance, like that's a lot of money every month that's getting thrown away. And plus, like, you know, you on top of that, you got to add on your brokerage fees and stuff that you have to pay. So that's been real challenging. But also, you know, just finding like, it's finding the clients, and then when you have the clients, finding them a house. Like right now, like there's a huge shortage, so it's just been hard, like finding them a house. So, you know, that's been the struggle so far. Those are the cons. Like if you can't fight that through adversity, like this might not be the business for you, because it's gonna be real tough.
Yeah. So what else? So I agree with that 100%. I feel like there's a lot you got to deal with. A lot when it comes to like, let's talk about like dealing with BS clients, bro. People who aren't serious. You get your time wasted a lot, bro. Especially, and not to say all renters, but like a lot of times you're better off renting a house on your own than you are working with a realtor. Like a lot of times, it just doesn't make sense for either party to be working with each other. Like mostly all listings you can find on one of these rental listings.
Like Zillow. Zillow or realtor, not realtor.
And so it's like
apartments.
And so it's pretty easy to find. And there's a lot of realtors who will take on rentals, but it's like a lot of people have unrealistic expectations. People with like under 600 credit scores, don't have any money saved, right? And freaking try and get a home, and they were supposed to move like a month ago.
And they're in a rush.
And it's just
they're in a rush. Like one of my clients, we were looking for like 2 months and then ghost.
Yeah.
So like you gotta think about it like that. Like I just wasted like, I want to say maybe like 12 hours of my time showing rentals to you, and like
for you to just take that for granted,
disappear.
Yeah, because a lot of times too. That's why when it comes to real estate, like you don't get paid when you're working on the buying side and the rental side until you close a deal. So like the people who are working with you, they have no financial investment. They have no skin in the game.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if they ghost you, they don't lose anything, bro.
Exactly.
So it's like, but you still have to put the same energy and effort. That's why like listings are so much better. But like getting a listing is hard.
It's hard.
And like, and because like if you don't know anyone looking to sell, it's like kind of hard to get into it unless you find someone.
Exactly.
But like with rentals and buyers, it's like everyone's always looking. It's a lot easier, especially at our age. I feel like too, a lot of our people are like looking to get started with home ownership. They're not looking to sell yet. They're looking to get into the game.
Exactly.
So that's been hard. Another thing I hated too is like when it comes to real estate, like I feel like you make a lot of connections, but like a lot of connections too. Once you realize that houses aside, you actually don't be having nothing in common with a lot of these people. Once you stop talking about real estate and houses, so it makes you feel as if you have a ton of connections and like a big network. But it's like the moment you stop focusing on real estate or stop talking about real estate, you realize like you actually didn't have as much alignment, as much connections as you thought you actually did, bro.
Yeah.
That's been another big one too.
That's real true. Cause I do know a lot of people, but like a lot of people in the real estate business, but like if I were to like try to talk to you like outside of real estate, like I got nothing to talk to you about. Like we just aren't the same person. Like you just just not someone I would like talk to. Like it's just based off your like how you act. Like I can't like talk to a lot of these people, man. And it's just
It's hard to connect too, being younger. Like it's cool. I mean, I love talking to older people, more seasoned people, I like to call it, right? More seasoned folks. It's like you learn a lot, bro. People can teach you a thing or two. You learn a lot you get a lot of wisdom very quickly, especially when you start hustling. Like a lot of people who are successful, like they'll reach out and throw you a bone to give you opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the good parts about it too, but we're not in a good part. We're still down talking real estate. The other part too, like the market has been so tough, yo.
Yeah.
So if you ain't get in during the pandemic when it was jumping,
I got in right at the end. So
yeah.
When you guys, or if you ever do get into real estate, if you look at it, like you'll see in like 2020, 2021, and 2022, kind of there was like a steady rise. It was like a real estate boom. Everybody, you could get a deal like. I mean,
everywhere. People buying houses left and right. Transactions, deals are getting made.
And then right when I joined, which is in like, I mean, I feel like the market started changing like September of 2022. Like November 2022 when I joined, there was still a lot on the market, but like by mid-year 2023, there was like, I mean, everybody was like, yeah, it's the summer. This is going to be the most popular time for listings, this and that. There wasn't really much that changed. It was honestly, it's kind of worse than when I first started. Like there was kind of like the winter when I first started, there was like a lot of houses on, but starting in that summer, there wasn't that much inventory, and I was like, dang.
Yeah, it's tough because this business is cyclical, and you can't really do nothing about it. Like so, you have to learn how to work within that particular time. But like it's like for me, it's like there's different seasons. And you're not going to dress the same way for each season. Because in the summertime, it's 95 freaking. And in the wintertime, it gets as low as, like, 0 degrees, 10 degrees out here.
On a daily basis.
And so it's like, and that's the same thing with real estate. So, like, you got to learn how to adjust for that specific market. But, like, you don't know when it's going to change. Like, the seasons, you know when it's going to be summer. You know when it's going to be spring. You know when it's going to be fall. You know when it's going to be winter. But, like, when it comes to real estate, like, you don't really know when the market is coming. Like everyone has been saying the market's gonna crash, the market's gonna crash. Man, I've been hearing the market's gonna crash since I was still in focus in real estate, which has been years, as you guys know. I've been hearing that, and it's like, oh, the bubble's gonna pop, and this and that. I don't know, and it's like, man, you can't predict any of that stuff. So it's like you have to adjust to what the current market is, but also be in preparation for the upcoming market. And now that the boom is like kind of over, I mean, it's been over for a while now. It's like it's been tough. And for the people I speak to, like, it's like, yeah, John, it's been like one of the hardest years. Like, yeah, John, it's been tough. And so, like, real estate, it's very also like demanding, bro. You almost become a therapist. You got to do so much for so many people, right? That's not in your job description. And, like, it's hard to kind of, really put that boundary between personal life and professional.
Because then most of the time, like sometimes these people, like, they don't think like you have your own personal life. Like you always gotta answer to them. Like I've never personally had a client like that, but I've seen people who's like their clients are like hounding them like they don't have a personal life. That's why some people I know, they're like after a certain time you can't call them, you can't reach them if you're talking about real estate. Like it can wait for another day. Like,
another thing too, like there's some clients who we try to talk to out of line. You have to put them in place real quick. Like especially being younger, like with all due respect, sir and ma'am, like I don't care about nothing you saying to me, bro. Like you gonna talk to me with respect or not talk to me at all, like I'll very much like just drop you as a client, bro. Like the client is not always right anymore, bro. Like back when I was in retail, but like now it's like we can go our separate ways. As I said earlier, the realtors are a dime a dozen, so you can go find somebody else and try that over there. But you're not gonna be telling me like talking to me as if
like, oh, you don't know what you're doing
because I'm your son's age or something like that.
Yeah, like you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, if I had another agent, my agent would be talking like you definitely won't.
Yeah, I had an uncle one time that was getting mad at me talking about like, mind you, I'm on the way down to Orlando. I think at the time in Florida, I was on a plane, and my uncle was speaking on me, bro, because he had first time. He was signing up for a first time home buyer program that I told him to sign up for, right? And they help you get your first your down payment assistance program. That's what it was. And what you talking about? You have to apply for the down payment assistance, go through the program. Once you're done, then you help. Then you gotta get approved for a mortgage. And then we start the home buying process. And so he wasn't even done with his down payment assistance program. He didn't even started yet, and he was getting mad at me because I wasn't trying to look into his financials and help him with the application. He was my uncle, but like, bro, like. I'm not like the financials of your financials for the DPA program, bro. That's not on me, bro. I connected you with the person who runs the down payment assistance programs. So you can reach out to them with your questions.
They tell you everything you need to give them.
Bro, and he was asking me, and then he was like, "Oh, who's your boss? Who's your manager? Like, let me talk to him, whatever, yada yada yada." And then like I stopped talking to him after that because he was trying to tweak on me. And like then I got a call from my aunt and then he was like, oh, like he's don't listen to him. He's sorry. Like he didn't mean to talk to you like that. Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, yeah, nah, I'm done with y'all.
You'll see a lot of people's real feelings like if they don't get their way, like you'll see a lot of people.
He'll be acting up like, yo, like chill out. Like, I understand you need a spot to live, but like you're a grown adult. Exactly. Like conduct yourself accordingly. Real talk, because I said so. I dumped him as a client, stopped working with him, and now I had to talk to Rick about it too. But there's another client too who's like trying to talk to me any type of way, and I have to drop him as a client. But yeah, some people, especially if you're younger, they gonna try and test you. You feel me? People haven't gotten checked in a while. Yeah. Because when you're in corporate, you never get really checked. You feel me? Because everyone's talking corporate talk. But like, nah, like real talk, and like this is not corporate, bro. And, like,
especially now, like a lot of agents, like they're gonna start getting out of the business, and like a lot of agents are gonna start getting out of the business, and like the agents that stay, they're not gonna like be putting up with a lot of people's stuff because like now, like with this, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but with the NAR lawsuit, like if buyers agents aren't getting paid from working with you, or if you're like one of those clients who like you give your agent a hard time, like some people are just gonna be like, it's not worth the commission, like to
put up with it,
put up with you. You may be giving them
the tantrums, bro, all that stuff.
Yeah, you may be giving them like paying them as your agent, but like, hey, at the end of the day, is your sanity worth helping or being a therapist to somebody else's?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's just not. Honestly, so sometimes you may have to drop a client.
100%. What else you got for like cons of being in real estate?
Like I said, I'm not gonna get too deep into the NAR thing.
Both people are not gonna understand what that means, though.
Yeah, but if you're not gonna be able to come in here and work, definitely stay out of real estate because it's about to get real serious.
It's about to get tough, but also tough times breed strong men. So it's like, you feel me? So it's like if you can come in here and you're willing for that, a lot of people there's a lot of old money in this industry. Exactly. So like a lot of people, they be like, man, I don't even want to put up with this, and I've been in the business for a while. It's like that's gonna open up opportunities to work.
Yeah.
And like hard work, you feel me? And smart hard work and can get you further faster than, especially in a time where like things get tough, because a lot of people are gonna be trying to bail out. A lot of people are gonna be leaving, and then if you can catch the gap while the opportunity's still there, you can tee up.
And this could possibly turn into a pro because like, say you're a more buyer centric agent, and like that's what you're good at. Like now you can set your price on your time and how much you're gonna charge. Like nobody can say like that's, even though the NAR settlement, like
remember, nobody listening knows what that means.
But like even with that, like like it's just you set your own price on your own time. So that's why I feel like it's a good and a bad thing. So if you want to know what that is, just look it up. John's gonna keep telling me that nobody knows what it is. So if you want to know what it is, just look it up.
Yeah. All right. Boom. So let's get right into the pros. Alrighty, so we just got talking about all the cons, why we hate real estate, but there actually are a lot of benefits. I'm not gonna make it seem like real estate is the worst thing that ever existed. Like it's actually a really valid career path to head down, especially for someone that's young and hungry and ready to hustle. So like, I'll start off with you, man. So what are the parts that keep you in the business? What are the parts that make you want to stay a realtor?
So, parts that are making me stay is like, realistically, you have unlimited potential. Like when you first start out, like I'm not gonna say like you could easily like sell like 100 million a year, but each year once you set a goal, and if you keep breaking that goal every year, like there's really no limit on how much you can make. Like you could expand yourself to different markets so that you have a bigger reach. So that's also something that's keeping me in, because I told John before, like I wanna take over markets. I wanna go to different markets and be a real estate agent there. So that's what's keeping me in. Also, it's just being around. You get to, it's constant networking. So when you're a real estate agent, like you get to meet a whole bunch of people. Like you meet a whole bunch of good people. Whether that's through your board, through going to events, or just one of your clients. Like if you like, a lot of people, they have good relationship with their clients, and their clients will introduce them to people, and then those people will introduce you to more people. So it's constantly just meeting people.
Yeah, I want to hit on that too, because like one thing about real estate, like networking is such an underrated tool. Like the reason I'm at where I'm at now is because networking. Like it all happened because one day decided to get into real estate. I got into wholesaling, and then from there, I started calling up attorneys, but that ended up leading me to me talking to a bunch of people that didn't know what they were talking about. And then I ended up getting into real estate as an agent because I met with this one guy named Adam. Shout out to Adam. He's a commercial broker. I haven't talked to him in a while. But he then got me started, and he connected me with a guy named Joe. So I was meeting with Adam and Joe while I was getting ready to get my license. And then on top of that, I looked up like top realtors in Connecticut. And then, or Stanford, sorry. And Todd Oslander popped up.
Yep.
So I reached out to Todd, hopped in the call with him, and like you make tons of connections. Like one of my biggest flex, I don't care what no one says. I can drop me off at any major airport in the U.S. and I'm good. Like I'm only a phone call or two away from tapping in with someone that, like if I'm stranded in the airport, like I'm only a phone call or two away from someone that knows someone that can help me out.
Yeah.
So it's like that's one of the biggest things. I've been able to connect not with just people around here, like people nationwide. Like I got, I'm not gonna say I got like nationwide motion, but like in a tiny way, I low key do like low key, because all the people you meet from everywhere. It's just like, especially you start getting into these mastermind groups, and then even locally, like one of the big perks about real estate when it comes to connection is like realtors are so pampered, which kind of gets me annoyed now. Now I'm trying to sell to realtors, but all these like lenders, attorneys, and all these home inspector people, like they want realtors to work with them, and so they're willing to like pay for realtors, marketing costs, or pay for realtors open houses, or pay for realtors, like if they have like papers that they need to print out and stuff like that, and do some graphic design. Like all these vendor partners, like they want your business, so like they'll kind of pamper you so that you can choose them over all the other potential vendors. And so like when you're a real estate agent, you get to make a lot of connections relatively easily.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially like it's it's easy to go talk to the people that your company has aligned themselves with. So like, for example, Keller Williams, I think we have like 3 mortgage brokers that we partner with. We have a few insurance agents, let me say. So like, it's just constantly like going out, reaching out and talking to them. You can learn a lot actually through the business. Like I'd say my whole first year was just me going to a whole bunch of lunch and learns and just learning the business through there, like learning these different products, who does what, who's good at what. And, that's also another thing you can learn, like, even if you're not in the mortgage industry, you can learn a lot of stuff about mortgage through going to some of these events that your office is holding. So, that's another good thing
and to add on to that too, like when it comes to learning, everyone needs a home, bro. So it's like eventually when I get my home, when you get your own spot, like we're gonna be set up because we're gonna know. Even if we lose our licenses, we're still gonna have all the connections. So finding a realtor to help us get a home is gonna be easy. But we're gonna have our license, so we're gonna get paid to buy our home, and we're gonna get, even if we decide to rent, we're still gonna get paid to rent our homes.
Exactly.
And so like, that's going to be a big plus. On top of that, you know what to look out for and what to do. You can represent yourself, so you don't have to worry about like having to have someone get, the message get lost, interpretation, you feel me, and go back and forth through someone else. Like you can talk to whoever has the listing directly and represent yourself. And like, that's a big plus because you learn, like, even if you're not trying to sell houses, because like I said, I'm not trying to sell houses anymore, but like I learned a lot, and so when it's my time, I know a thing or two, and like I learned a lot about real estate investing as well. So that's not all agents know about real estate investing. That's a small percentage. Most agents don't actually know anything about investing at all. But like I've been able to meet a lot of investors as well through going to a lot of these real estate events. So kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone, like the networking and the education piece. You get to learn a lot about what the housing market is like, and you get to become educated on something that affects literally everyone in the country. And so like that's another big perk as well.
Yeah, that's fact, man. I can't even lie to you.
What else?
You could also like as an agent, like when you represent yourself, the commission that you make, like say if you like, for example, if you're using an FHA loan as an agent, the commission that you make, say if it's 2.5% on the house, and your total like down payment is 3.5%, you could actually put the commission you're gonna get towards your down payment. So that 3.5 really becomes 1% now. So you're putting the 1% down whenever, I guess, at closing, whenever you're gonna put it down, and
Yeah.
plus your closing costs, obviously. But that makes it pretty much way cheaper for you to get a house in some points.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's so much benefits, and let's say like the other agent, like when you're an agent and you're cool, other agents like they're willing to work stuff out.
Yeah, they
And so
definitely
like
are.
if the other agent that's buying or you're renting their house from, like, you'll be able to negotiate with them a whole lot more.
Yeah, way
and,
more.
Like that helps out a ton. And then on top of that, like when it comes to the down payment, you could also, you mentioned that you can use it for the closing costs as well, or you can use it to pay for all the furniture when you're moving into a new spot to furnish the spot up, because that usually costs money and people don't. You can use that to pay for movers if you need movers, and you can use that money for so many things. Or let's say like you can get referral fees as well. So like even if you're not focused on being in a business, if you send someone out, like I sent Darren a referral, that ended up being your first buyer too.
Yeah.
So it's like that's. It's someone reached out to me, my best friend's mom, and then she said that someone at her job needed someone. And I was like, dope, I got someone that I work with, young, hungry, and knows what he's doing. Boom, connected him to Darren, and it took him a while.
Yeah,
the market was tough.
Yeah, the market is.
Yeah, so there's some ups and downs, but boom, and now I got paid for that. Darren got paid for that, and Shorty got a crib, and so like everybody wins.
Everybody wins, and at the end of the day, like the last pro that I have is just when you help somebody and like, you gave them like, after the whole process, it might have been tough, but like seeing that they're happy after their transaction, happy with where they live, that's also like a major pro for me, because like the process with the buyer, like it was a real tough process, and then at the end there was some like things that didn't get taken care of on the seller side that like we wanted taken care of, but our attorney was able to negotiate some of those things in to be like done or to get a credit for those. And last time I spoke with her, she said she was very happy with where she lives. So just getting a connection and helping people be happy with where they live.
And that paycheck too be busting. Low key. I never had a buyer paycheck. I only had rentals, but like, man, I did a one rental. Like my best friend rental, there was $46.50, right? And so like it's like half a month's rent or something like that. And so it's like they split it 3 ways, but like $46.50.
$46.50?
Yeah, and so I got half of that, bro. And so like by the after commissions and everything.
Splits?
Man, I mean like a quick little 1,800, 1,500 right
rental,
there.
like if you're really good at doing rentals, bro, the rental market is
You getting some luxury rentals, bro.
Yeah, you get luxury rentals, yes.
You can get some money, and like rentals is way less paperwork, and so it's depending on how you play. I only ever did 3 rentals. I did one 3 months in, and then I did 2 in the month of August, right before I hit 1 year, and so that's the extent of my real estate career. I just said, I'm not gonna say, oh no, I'd say real estate is something that I recommend people getting into. For one way to put it, it's also a great stepping stone that help propel you into whatever your next adventure is. So you learn a thing or two about home and housing, which you're gonna need at some point, and then you get to make lots of connection, right? Because when you do have a house, eventually you're gonna maybe need unless you have the world's greatest HOA, you're gonna need to call a plumber eventually or one day, or an inspector, or an exterminator, or a landscaper. Like, you're gonna need those things for your home wherever you live at, right? And so it's like you get into real estate, you make all these connections, whether you want to end up selling houses or not in the future. It's a great way to make a lot of connections while you're in the business, and then it can also help open up doors to other business ventures. Like for me, that helped me to get into teaching AI. So like, there's so many different ways. So all in all, I'd say that I would recommend people that are young and don't really know what they want to do to give real estate a shot. What about you, bro?
I would say, like I said before, I said no, but it's only like, straight fresh out of high school. I don't mean like 20. Like if you're 20 and you want to get into real estate, I think that's around like the perfect age, because not a lot of people your age are gonna know about houses and stuff. So you coming in with that knowledge, being able to spread it in the future, you're gonna be able to help out a lot of people. But if you are 18 and you want to get into the business, if you're coming in hungry, ready to work, don't think everything is gonna be handed to you. This is gonna be a good career for you. So yes and no. That's my answer. My final answer.
Final answer, no. My answer is yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it is some BS. Would I ever go back? No. But like, don't let my answer dissuade you, because if I had to go back and change it, I also wouldn't. I would keep everything the way it was. So like, I would never go back. But I'm glad that I was in it for the time that I was, because it helped me get to where I am.
Yep.
And so that's it for this episode, man. In the next episode, me and Darren are actually gonna be talking about, or at least in the next collab episode that me and Darren got, we're gonna be talking about, starting to get into business as a young adult and managing your social life and your friends. So stay tuned for that one. It's gonna be a good one. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, sir, Ski.